If you are over 50 and you have noticed your energy fading, your motivation slipping, or that spark you once had seeming dimmer than it used to be, I want you to listen closely because what I am about to share with you could change everything. These changes are not just part of getting older. They are not something you have to accept as inevitable. In many cases, they are side effects of medications sitting right there in your medicine cabinet. Medications your doctor prescribed to help you, but that might be quietly working against one of the most important aspects of your masculine health. I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I have been practicing internal medicine for over 15 years, specializing in men's health after age 50. In that time, I have seen thousands of men walk into my office confused, frustrated, and feeling like shadows of their former selves. They tell me about losing interest in things they used to love. They describe feeling disconnected from their partners. They talk about a general sense that something fundamental has shifted, but they cannot put their finger on what. And here is what I have discovered. In the vast majority of these cases, the problem is not age. It is not genetics. It is not some mysterious decline that cannot be explained. The problem is medication interactions and side effects that most men, and unfortunately many doctors, simply do not recognize or address properly. Today, I am going to walk you through the three most common medication mistakes that are quietly destroying your drive, your energy, and your sense of vitality. These are mistakes that happen in doctors' offices every single day. They happen to intelligent, health-conscious men who are doing everything they think they should be doing to take care of themselves. But because these effects develop slowly and subtly, they often go unnoticed until the impact becomes impossible to ignore. You will learn exactly which medications are the biggest culprits, why they affect you the way they do, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Because here is the truth that the pharmaceutical industry does not want you to know. Many of these effects are completely reversible when you know how to approach them correctly. Before we dive in, let me be crystal clear about something. I am not here to tell you to stop taking your medications. That would be dangerous and irresponsible. What I am here to do is give you information that will help you have better conversations with your doctor. Information that will help you ask the right questions and explore alternatives that might work better for your body and your goals. The first medication mistake that is destroying the vitality of men over 50 is one that affects millions of men every single day, and most have no idea it is happening. It involves a class of medications that are prescribed more frequently than almost any other type of drug for men in this age group. These medications are considered safe, effective, and routine by most doctors. But what they do not tell you is how profoundly they can impact your hormonal balance, your energy levels, and your overall sense of masculine vitality. I am talking about blood pressure medications, specifically a group called ACE inhibitors and beta blockers. Now, before you panic, let me say this again. These medications save lives. They prevent heart attacks and strokes. They are absolutely necessary for many men. But the way they are prescribed, monitored, and adjusted is where the problem lies. Here is what most doctors do not explain when they hand you that prescription. These medications do not just lower your blood pressure. They alter the delicate balance of hormones and neurotransmitters that regulate everything from your energy levels to your sexual function to your overall sense of well-being. And for men over 50 whose hormone levels are already beginning to shift naturally, this can create a perfect storm of unwanted effects. Let me paint you a picture of how this typically unfolds. You go to your doctor for a routine checkup. Your blood pressure is a little elevated. Nothing dramatic, but your doctor wants to be proactive. He prescribes a beta blocker or an ACE inhibitor. You start taking it faithfully every morning. Your blood pressure numbers improve. Your doctor is happy. You think you are doing everything right. But over the next few months, you start noticing subtle changes. You do not wake up with the same energy you used to have. That morning motivation that used to carry you through your workout or your daily tasks starts to feel forced. You find yourself more tired in the evenings. Your interest in activities you used to enjoy begins to wane. And if you are in a relationship, you might notice changes in your desire for intimacy. Most men, when these changes happen gradually, attribute them to stress, aging, or just life getting more complicated. They do not connect the dots back to that little pill they started taking 6 months ago. And unfortunately, most doctors do not either. Here is the science behind what is actually happening in your body. Beta blockers, for example, do not just block the effects of adrenaline on your heart, they block them throughout your entire body. This includes blocking the natural energy and drive signals that keep you feeling motivated and engaged with life. They can reduce the production of testosterone, the hormone that is absolutely critical for energy, muscle mass, mood, and sexual function in men. ACE inhibitors work differently, but they can have similar effects. They alter the balance of hormones like aldosterone and can affect the way your body processes zinc, a mineral that is essential for testosterone production. Over time, this can lead to a gradual but significant decline in the very hormones that make you feel like yourself. But here's the part that really frustrates me as a physician. These effects are dose dependent, meaning the higher the dose, the more likely you are to experience these problems. And yet, the standard approach in most medical practices is to start with a moderate dose and increase it until your blood pressure numbers look good on paper, regardless of how you actually feel. This is the first critical mistake. This is the first critical. Doctors are treating numbers instead of treating the whole person. Your blood pressure reading is important, but it is not the only thing that matters. How you feel, how you function, your quality of life, your energy levels, your relationships, these things matter too. And there are ways to manage blood pressure that take all of these factors into account. The solution is not to stop taking blood pressure medication if you need it. The solution is to work with a doctor who understands the full picture. Someone who will start with the lowest effective dose, monitor not just your blood pressure, but your energy levels, your mood, your sexual function. Someone who will consider alternative medications that might work just as well for your blood pressure, but with fewer effects on your hormonal balance. There are newer classes of blood pressure medications, like calcium channel blockers and ARBs, that tend to have less impact on testosterone and energy levels. There are also lifestyle interventions that can reduce your need for high doses of medication. Things like specific dietary changes, targeted exercise routines, stress management techniques, and sleep optimization can all significantly improve blood pressure naturally. But the key is having a doctor who sees you as more than just a blood pressure reading, someone who understands that your vitality, your drive, your sense of masculine energy are not luxuries. They are essential components of your health and well-being. The second medication mistake is even more common and potentially more devastating to your sense of vitality. It involves a class of drugs that millions of men over 50 take every single day, often for decades, without ever being told about the long-term effects on their hormonal health and energy levels. I'm talking about statins, cholesterol-lowering medications that are prescribed to nearly half of all men over 50 in America. And while these medications can be life-saving for men at high risk of heart disease, the way they are prescribed and monitored represents one of the most overlooked threats to masculine vitality in modern medicine. Now, let me be clear from the start. Statins have prevented countless heart attacks and saved many lives. But what most doctors fail to explain, and what most men never discover until it is too late, is that cholesterol is not just some dangerous substance your body produces by mistake. Cholesterol is the raw material your body uses to manufacture testosterone, the hormone that drives your energy, your motivation, your muscle mass, your mood, and your sexual function. When you take a medication that dramatically reduces your body's ability to produce cholesterol, you are not just lowering your risk of heart disease. You are potentially starving your body of the building blocks it needs to maintain healthy hormone levels. And for men over 50 whose testosterone production is already declining naturally, this can be absolutely devastating. Here is how this typically plays out in real life. Your doctor orders routine blood work. Your cholesterol comes back elevated. Not dangerously high, but above the guidelines. Without much discussion about your individual risk factors, your family history, or your overall health picture, you are handed a prescription for a statin. You are told to take it every night before bed and come back in 3 months to check your numbers. Those first few months, you might not notice much. Your cholesterol numbers improve dramatically. Your doctor is pleased, you feel like you are being proactive about your health. But somewhere around month 4 or 5, subtle changes begin to creep in. You start waking up feeling less rested even when you get a full night's sleep. That natural drive and ambition that used to propel you through your day starts to feel muted, like someone turned down the volume on your internal engine. Your workouts become more of a struggle. Recovery takes longer. Muscle definition that you worked years to build starts to soften, even though your diet and exercise routine have not changed. If you are married or in a relationship, you might notice that romantic moments that used to happen naturally now require more effort, more planning, more conscious intention. Most men, when these changes happen gradually over months or years, assume it is just the natural process of aging. They think this is what 55 or 60 or 65 is supposed to feel like. They adjust their expectations downward and accept a diminished version of themselves as the new normal. But this is not normal aging. This is medication-induced hormone disruption, and it is completely preventable in many cases. The science behind this is straightforward but alarming. Statins work by blocking an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase, which is responsible for cholesterol production in your liver. But this same enzyme is part of the pathway that produces CoQ10, an essential nutrient for cellular energy, and it is part of the cascade that leads to testosterone production. When you block this enzyme aggressively, you do not just lower cholesterol. You interfere with multiple systems that are critical for maintaining energy and vitality. Studies have shown that men taking statins can experience testosterone declines of 10 to 15% or more. That might not sound like much, but for a man whose testosterone was already at the lower end of normal, this can push him into clinically low territory. And unlike the gradual decline that happens with natural aging, statin-induced testosterone suppression can happen relatively quickly and dramatically. But here is what makes this particularly frustrating. Most doctors never monitor testosterone levels in men taking statins. They check cholesterol religiously every 3 months, but they never assess whether the medication is affecting the hormones that determine how you feel, how you function, and how you experience life. This represents the second critical mistake. Doctors are managing cholesterol as if it exists in isolation, without considering its role in the complex web of hormones and systems that determine your overall vitality. They are optimizing one number while potentially destroying others that are equally important for your health and quality of life. The solution is not necessarily to avoid statins if you truly need them. The solution is to approach cholesterol management more intelligently and more holistically. This means having a doctor who will assess your actual cardiovascular risk, not just your cholesterol numbers. Someone who will consider your age, your family history, your other risk factors, your overall health status, and yes, your quality of life. There are men who absolutely need statins because their risk of heart attack or stroke is genuinely high. But there are many more men who are prescribed these medications based on outdated guidelines or overly aggressive targets without proper consideration of the trade-offs involved. For men who do need cholesterol management, there are often ways to achieve the same cardiovascular protection with lower doses of statins, combined with lifestyle interventions, targeted supplements like CoQ10, and careful monitoring of hormone levels. Some men can manage their cholesterol effectively with alternative medications that have less impact on testosterone production. The key is finding a physician who understands that your cholesterol level is not more important than your energy level, your muscle mass, your sexual function, or your overall sense of well-being. Someone who sees cholesterol management as part of a broader strategy to keep you healthy, vital, and fully functional for decades to come. Now, the third medication mistake is perhaps the most insidious because it involves drugs that are often prescribed for symptoms that are actually caused by the first two mistakes I just described. It is a vicious cycle that traps millions of men in a downward spiral of declining vitality, and most never realize what is happening until the damage is extensive. I'm talking about antidepressants and anxiety medications, specifically a class of drugs called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and benzodiazepines. These medications are prescribed at alarming rates to men over 50, often as a quick fix for symptoms that are actually rooted in the hormonal disruption caused by the very medications I just described. Here is how this devastating cycle typically unfolds. You have been taking blood pressure medication for 2 years. You have been on a statin for 3 years. Slowly, gradually, your energy has declined. Your motivation has waned. You find yourself feeling more irritable, more anxious, less interested in activities you used to enjoy. Your sleep quality has deteriorated. Your relationship feels strained because intimacy has become complicated and infrequent. You mention these concerns to your doctor during a routine visit. Instead of investigating whether your existing medications might be contributing to these symptoms, instead of checking your hormone levels or assessing the cumulative impact of your current prescriptions, your doctor reaches for the prescription pad again. You walk out with an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication, adding another layer to an already complex chemical situation in your body. Now, let me be absolutely clear. Depression and anxiety are real conditions that sometimes require medication. But what I see happening in practice is that these medications are being used as band-aids for symptoms that have underlying treatable causes. Instead of addressing the root problem, we are medicating the consequences, and in doing so, we often make the original problem worse. Here is why this is so problematic for men. Over 50, SSRIs do not just affect serotonin in your brain. They affect serotonin throughout your entire body, including in areas that regulate sexual function, energy levels, and even testosterone production. Many SSRIs can directly suppress testosterone synthesis and can interfere with the conversion of testosterone to its more active forms. The result is that a man who was already experiencing declining vitality from his blood pressure medication, and his statin now has a third medication that is further suppressing the very hormones and neurotransmitters that could help restore his sense of well-being. It is like trying to fill a bucket that has 3 holes in the bottom by pouring water faster instead of plugging the holes. Benzodiazepines present their own set of problems. While they can provide temporary relief from anxiety, they can also suppress REM sleep, the deep restorative sleep that is essential for testosterone production and cellular repair. They can create dependence issues that make it difficult to stop taking them, even when they are no longer helping, and they can interfere with the natural stress response systems that, when functioning properly, actually support healthy hormone production. But here's what makes this third mistake the most tragic. In many cases, the symptoms that led to the antidepressant or anti-anxiety prescription could have been resolved by addressing the medication-induced hormone disruption that was causing them in the first place. Instead of adding more medications, the solution often involves optimizing the existing ones, or in some cases, carefully reducing them under proper medical supervision. I have seen men transform their lives by working with knowledgeable physicians who understand these connections. Men who were taking 4 or 5 different medications, feeling tired, depressed, and disconnected from life. Who were able to optimize their blood pressure management, adjust their cholesterol approach, support their natural hormone production, and gradually eliminate the need for antidepressants and anxiety medications. The key is finding a doctor who sees your health as an interconnected system, not a collection of separate problems that each require their own medication. Someone who understands that your energy, your mood, your sexual function, your sleep quality, and your sense of vitality are all connected. Someone who will take the time to review your entire medication regimen and assess whether each drug is truly necessary, whether the doses are appropriate, and whether there are better alternatives available. This is not about being anti-medication. This is about being smart with medication. It is about recognizing that every drug you put into your body has effects beyond its intended purpose, and that these effects can accumulate and interact in ways that profoundly impact your quality of life. If you are over 50 and you have been feeling like a shadow of your former self, if you have noticed your energy declining, your motivation fading, your relationship suffering, I want you to consider the possibility that your medications might be playing a role. Not because medications are bad, but because they might not be optimized for your individual needs and goals. The solution starts with having an honest conversation with a physician who specializes in men's health and who understands the complex interplay between medications, hormones, and vitality. Someone who will order comprehensive testing, including detailed hormone panels, nutrient assessments, and cardiovascular risk analysis. Someone who will work with you to create a plan that addresses your health concerns while preserving and restoring your sense of masculine energy and drive. Your vitality is not a luxury. It is not something you have to sacrifice in the name of managing other health conditions. With the right approach, the right physician, and the right understanding of how these systems work together, you can feel strong, energetic, and fully alive well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The choice is yours. You can accept the gradual decline as inevitable, or you can take action to reclaim the energy and drive that make life worth living. Your body is capable of so much more than you might think. It just needs the right support, the right approach, and a physician who sees you as more than a collection of numbers on a lab report. Thank you for watching, and remember, your best years do not have to be behind you. They can be right ahead of you, waiting for you to give your body what it needs to thrive.